Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Monday, February 15th. In this series, I cover a large scope but useful info like the Target Loot map, the Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoy this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And always remember to hit the bell notification icon to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions or feedback whatsoever. I always respond to you guys as fast as possible. Otherwise, let's get this video started, agents. Alright guys, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are in the big bottom left overlay that pops up right now, and that's going to reset tomorrow, so keep that in mind as well. What I highly recommend is getting the Orbit pistol with perfect finisher in the DZ South area, and DZ East the Carnage with perfect sadist, and maybe the Force Multiplier backpack at the Clan, 0Fs maybe at the White House as well. Now over here in DZ West today we have the light machine guns as target to loot. So the Dark Zone exclusive here is the Black Friday with perfectly unhinged, and I think that is definitely worth farming for. Otherwise you could still farm for the two exotics, the Bullet King and the Pestilence, especially the Pestilence. That thing has an extremely high drop rate in the Dark Zones. And of course there's all sorts of other recommended named LMGs in the bottom left overlay. You know, the Black Friday is the DZ exclusive, the other ones, some of them drop in the DZ as well. Now over in DZ South we have Strikers, which of course I do not recommend using more than 3 pieces ever, and really I don't recommend farming it in the DZ either unless it's a gear set that has skill tier on it, since the loot quality is usually so low in the Dark Zone. But the real prize today is in DZ East. We got submachine guns as targeted loot, so that means 2 great weapons that you can use. The first one being the Dark Winter with perfect killer, and the Apartment with perfectly measured. Now both of those are extremely good. The Apartment's similar to the house from the Division 1, you know, it's really great. And then of course the Dark Winter just shreds and it shoots super fast and it has perfect killer on it. Otherwise you can of course still farm for the Lady Death, the Chatterbox. If you haven't completed the quest yet, I'll put it in my Chatterbox guide video in the top right, and the Backfire as well. And really that's all I recommend for the Dark Zones. Let's now move on to the North Side and invaded missions. Alright agents, so starting off with the invaded missions in North Side, we got of course Potomac Event Center, and then Federal Emergency Bunker, Bank Headquarters, and then the Strongholds is Manny National Zoo, and of course Tidal Basin. Over here at Camp White Oak today, we do have knee pads as targeted loot. You got 2 exotics, Sawyer's knee pads and Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, and both of them are really good, but they are complete opposites basically. So of course with the Ninja Bike, it's for like, you know, a quick SMG shotgun running gun build, because you vault or cover to cover and you get 25% bonus armor as well as instantly reloading your weapon. As for Sawyer's, it's actually you sit still, and every second you sit still you gain 1% weapon damage up to 30% weapon damage, and if you as much as just flinch, it starts dropping by 1% all the way to 0 again. And of course you can also farm the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover. That's multiplicative damage, the best type of damage you can get in this game, especially paired with 10% damage targets out of cover on your weapons, which I recommend is on any of your weapons. Otherwise I would farm Overlord today if it's available for the Fox's Prayer. And then next up we have Future Initiative at Coney Island Ballpark. So remember, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse Raid exclusive. You can only get them on the normal difficulty of the Iron Horse Raid. But don't worry about that, just get an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a Murakami backpack with Safeguard on it, and that is a really good non-raid exclusive healer build. And then I would skip skill attachments, they're not worth farming for in my opinion, but chest pieces at Manny National Zoo, if you need the Tardigrade or the Ridgeway's Pride, you know, you want to refarm it, then you could farm that today at Manny National Zoo. Now of course the Tardigrade you can just straight up farm for, and it gives you that bonus armor, your whole team as well, kind of like way better than Perfect Unbreakable. But of course the downside is that Ridgeway's Pride, you have to complete the project first before it joins chest targeted loot, you know, so you know, always let your teammates know what you're farming for and vice versa. You know, hey, I'm looking for the Ridgeways, and you know, what are you looking for? And if they get it to drop with you, then they can share it with you and that'll complete the project as well. Otherwise, Kinley College is open for another 12 hours as of this recording, and then of course you pick your own targeted loot at the summit. So let's check out what we got on the west and east sides of Washington DC now, agents. Alright, agents, Westside Target Loot highlights. Starting off with the only couple gear sets we got. First off, we got Rigger at Tidal Basin, which is great for instant skill cooldowns. I believe it's the successor to Hardwired, and when you cancel or destroy a skill, not only do you get an instant cooldown, but it also gives you a huge skill damage buff, especially if you're wearing the chest piece as well. And I recommend it, you know, with not an exact build, but I recommend using it on a turret and drone build or any deployable thing, you know. And then the last one we got is Eclipse Protocol West End. I'll put my favorite fire damage build in the top title card right now. That is 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and 1 piece of Golan gear for an extra 10% status effects. What you want to do is run that with the Firewall specialization, the Firestarter Chem Launcher, and the Stinger Hive, and you could use the Pyromaniac named AR with Perfectly Ignited, or the Harmony, or even the Capacitor actually. I haven't tried that out yet, but I bet it would be really good. Otherwise, for normal targeted loot, let's start with holsters at the Pentagon. Now, of course, you have 3 exotic holsters in this game, right? So you got the Waveform, which you unlock at Season 4 level 90, and is a Black Tusk holster, so you have an extra 3% chance to get it here today. And then, of course, you have the Imperial Dynasty holster in Dodge City. Both of those are their own other factions, I believe, but the Imperial Dynasty is great for skill damage and status effects, and the Dodge City is great for pistol builds or any headshot damage build. Now, next up in West Atomic Park, we got Bellstone Armory. Now, I only really mention this, you know, because you can get the everyday carrier, a perfectly efficient chest piece, but comment below if you ever use it, because I never have, and I don't really know what build to use it with. But like I said, I really only mention Bellstone to remind you guys that the Liquid Engineer backpack with perfect Bloodsucker on it is a Dark Zone exclusive, so keep that in mind. And then we got Providence Defense at DCD HQ today, so you can farm the Sacrifice of Perfect Glass Cannon. That is going to amplify, meaning multiplicative damage by your all damage by 30%, but of course it also amplifies all the damage to you, incoming damage, by 60%. It's really good if you like Glass Cannon, but I prefer Intimidate or Obliterate over it. And then we got Empress at Constitutional Hall. I will make sure to put my favorite turret and drone build in the top title card right now. That is 3-piece Empress, 2-piece Hanayu, and the Waveform holster. And I always roll Kinetic Momentum on the chest piece, and then of course the Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms, and I run the Capacitor and the Harmony rifle. Also, there's 2 named items that come with Empress. The first one is Caesar's Guard chest piece with Perfectly Skilled, and the Battery Pack with Perfectly Calculated. And then of course we got rifles at Foggy Bottom. So there's 2 exotics here, the Merciless and the Diamondback. I don't really recommend either or. The Merciless is kind of good if you have 3-piece striker, weapon handling on all your gear, or braced on your chest. Or, you know, with the Diamondback, you know, you could do like, I don't know, it has 5 rounds. That's the problem with it. Otherwise in PvE and PvP, it is really strong actually. But I do definitely recommend the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot, and then of course the Surge with Perfect Spike. Both of those are really worth it, and they're named rifles that do drop outside of the Dark Zone. And then next up, we got gloves at Atomic Event Center. Now, you can find the BTSU Data Gloves, which grants overcharge to you or any ally that's at skill tier 6, and of course it's an invaded mission. So this is going to give you an extra 3% chance, and you can keep running it on invasion if you just hold down mission settings right here, and then of course you go to toggle mission mode and it turns it on and off. So if you're looking for the BTSU gloves and they don't drop right away, you could reset it to invaded after you've completed it, and then hopefully they'll drop. Otherwise, I would highly recommend farming the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor. Those are definitely worth it for any LMG build or if you're stacking damage to armor. But of course, you could farm Petrov for a better, you know, results, but I don't know if Petrov is available today. Otherwise, that's really all I recommend for the west side. Let's go check out the east side now. Alright, agents, starting off with the east side targeted loot highlights. Starting off with gear sets, we got Foundry Bulwark at Space Administration HQ. Now remember, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive, just like Future Initiative. But what you want to do is mix 4 pieces of Foundry with the Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen, and then a piece of Bellstone Armory for extra armor regen. And then of course we got Tip of the Spear at Federal Triangle. Now this is niche for, you know, stripping armor off, like using especially the Survivalist specialization, the crossbow to strip armor right off of an enemy on legendaries. But otherwise I don't really recommend it. But what I do recommend is Negotiator's Dilemma at American History Museum, and if I have enough cards I'll give you my double LMG build in the top right. Otherwise in the bottom left overlay it'll show 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask, and then of course you could run, you know, for ARs and SMGs like the Eagle Bearer or something, you can run Grupo Sombro gloves or Contractor's gloves if you run LMGs like the Bullet King or Pestilence. For normal targeted loot, we got shotguns at air and space. I highly recommend picking up the Scorpio with septic shock, and if you're into it, the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent. Those are the two exotic shotguns in this game. The Sweet Dreams is good for skill builds. You can melee one-hit kill any purple or red barred enemy every 15 seconds. But with the Scorpio, it's good for DPS builds, tank builds, and skill builds, and hybrid builds. It just, one shot is like poison, 3 shots is confuse, 5 is shock, and then of course 7, you get a 20% damage debuff on that enemy. It's perfect for in-group, solo, all types of builds. And then of course the other 4 best shotguns in this game would be the Rock and Roll with Perfectly Extra, although that is a DZ exclusive, the Mop with 10% armor on kill, and the Custom M8 70 and the Marine Super 90 with close and personal rolled on all of them except for the Rock and Roll. And next up we got Massive Capital Building Stronghold. You got 2 exotics, first off Coyote's Mask for DPS builds and the Vile Mask for status effects and skill damage builds. So with the Coyote's Mask, you only have to be 1 person wearing it in a 4-man group or any group to get the benefits from the crit chance and crit damage from the Pack Instincts talent. And then for the Vile Mask, if you want to keep the debuff stronger, you can use the Demolitionist specialization, which will increase the damage of the Concussion Grenade, which is how the damage comes from the Vile Mask debuff. And then of course you could also farm for the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it. Now that is a Douglas and Harding, which is probably in New York or somewhere, and if it's not, you could farm it here, but it's great for an all high-end headshot damage build. And we got Badger Tough at Viewpoint Museum. You can farm the Zero F's chest piece to Perfect Unbreakable. That is going to repair 100% of your armor when it breaks, and the cooldown is only a short 55 seconds. And of course you could also purchase this at the White House if you like the rolls on it. And then last couple I'll mention is Honeydew at Grand Washington Hotel. You could purchase the Force Multiplier backpack at the Clan vendor. But if the rolls aren't good enough for you, then you could farm it here today, and that's going to give you 30% skill damage for only 3 seconds, so you're always having to shoot. And the alternative to that would be to have a Honeydew backpack with tech support, or you could farm Alp Summit today in Judiciary Square to farm for the percussive maintenance with perfect tech support on it. And that of course is going to give you 30% skill damage for 30 seconds, and it's basically always active, same with the regular tech support. And last but not least, for Washington DC, AR is a District Union. So besides the Eagle Bearer, you got the 2 exotics, the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor with Capacitance. Now of course with the Capacitor, you need to complete 5 summit challenges first to unlock it in AR targeted loot, and that's easy. You can do it on any difficulty, and remember, difficulty does not affect the roll quality on an exotic. And of course the Chameleon you can just straight up farm for. It's really worth getting, especially on my True Patriot build. Otherwise there's a bunch of named ARs in the bottom left overlay. The Rail Splitter is a DZ exclusive, but the rest of them I'd recommend, like the Mechanical Animal of Future Perfection, the Burnout named FAMAS, and the new Test Subject with Perfectly in Sync. And that's about it though. Let's go check out now what we got in New York City. Alright agents, New York City, targeted loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets. We got aces and 8s over here at Civic Center. So I always tell you guys, this is a great headshot gear set, and I always mix 3-piece aces and 8s with 2 pieces of Araldo Holding, 1 being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure. And then of course you want to run that with the Mantis and the Ekim's long stick with Perfect Ranger or White Death, and the Chainkiller chest piece with Perfect Headhunter. And speaking of the Chainkiller, you can farm that today at 2 bridges. That's definitely worth farming for anything, any headshot damage build. It deals 150% of your last killing blow. And then here's Overlord if you want to farm for the Fox's Prayer, and Petrov for of course the Contractor's Gloves. And then next up we got Ongoing Directive over here at Battery Park. So the 2 bleed damage builds I always give you guys, the first one is Ridgeway's Pride, 4-piece Ongoing Directive, and the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked, which you could farm for today here at Liberty Island. And I always run these both with the Carnage with Perfect Sadist, which you can get at the DZ East vendor up until tomorrow, and then the Scorpio Exotic Shotgun. And the second one's going to be 4-piece Ongoing Directive, a Badger Tough backpack with the Creeping Death Talent on it, and the Vile Mask. Both of those are very good. I prefer the Ridgeway's Pride one though. And last but not least, we got backpacks at Financial District. You can get that Memento backpack with Kill Confirmed and Acosta's Go Bag with 1 in the hand. Just farm backpack targeted loot if you're, looking for the Memento and you missed it during the Season 3 rewards. It's just part of backpack targeted loot now, so always remember that, agents. Alright agents, well that was your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below, and if not, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for all sorts of stuff. My shadowgaming.network website that launched yesterday, my Shadow Gaming merch, Discord, my clan on all platforms, and my website has all of that and more as well if you want to check it out. And then of course if you want to become a member of my channel, you can click the join button below for exclusive perks and extra support. Just it really helps out. That's how I'm able to maintain that website and domain, buy new microphone equipment, all that stuff, so the sound quality is a lot better. But anyway, be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents and have a lovely week.